scaling, supply chains, and clinical development.
Elaine, thank you very much for that and setting it up. And another company to join this big IPO party that we're seeing in Hong Kong. And to help us talk more about this, Remo Moomiaie Qajar is a founder and CEO at Axiom Biosciences and joins us now stateside to talk more about this planned listing in Hong Kong. Remo, it's very good to see you and thank you for joining us. And you've described this move as contrarian, coming to Hong Kong first before making the similar fundraising in the United States. Can you walk us through the strategic calculations to choose a primary listing in Hong Kong?
Thank you, Emily. First, there's an acknowledgement that Hong Kong is actually a growing industry within the biotech sector. It has a very good track record of success when it comes to IPOs and, more importantly, companies performing after their IPOs. So there is a sophisticated network of investors in Hong Kong who understand the particular needs of next generation technologies like what we're building at Axiom Biosciences, understand the timeframes needed, and ultimately the proximity to many of our partners, in particular the one that we have disclosed, which is a South Korean company called Medino, makes it a very important starting point for our company's public identity. And our bigger mission is to build a global biotech company.
And Remo, how do you plan on tapping into China's biotech space? I was talking earlier about how clinical development and supply chains are some of China's advantages. Can you share more about your strategy when it comes to working with any potential partners in China?
Thank you. We do not have any potential partners that we're going to be disclosing at this point. There are many that are in discussions, whether it's on a clinical asset for co-development or, as you say, clinical trial management and so forth. So China offers a unprecedented amount of speed in which we can accelerate the process of developing these next generation drugs. And at the end of the day, that is what is paramount here.
And I also want to ask, because, you know, one of the headlines we've been talking about today is President Trump planning an 100% tariff on generic drug imports from August 2028. So I don't know if that impacts your business at all, but what's your take on that, and how would a move like that impact the broader biotech sector and also consumers?
We recognize that the geopolitical situation is very complex, and we're monitoring that. But this doesn't change our intention to list in Hong Kong. The generic market is not what we're doing. We're developing next generation regenerative and genetic medicines. And ultimately, that is a very subspecialty product and line of development in biotech that requires sophisticated investors who understand the risks, the time frames, and the developmental needs. And I think within Asia, we have all of that, and ultimately, that is where we're deciding to start our journey.
Remo, there were 11 healthcare companies, drug companies that raised almost $2 billion in Hong Kong in the first half, and the pipeline is 500 long. Have you guys first submitted your application? And I also want to get maybe some numbers from you. What is your expectation in terms of how big the IPO is, your IPO size?
Yeah, we're in the process of submitting the regulatory requirements for listing in Hong Kong. As far as our expectation of valuations and so forth, we're not ready to disclose that at this point in time, and anything I would say would be speculative at best. What I would say is that, you know, from a company that is going to be the first American company to list, I think there will be some considerations with regards to the uniqueness of that offering. So we're very excited about that. In our history, we're very proud of the fact that in a period of about 3 years, we've received several high prestigious awards in grants, and we have a level of validation that most companies simply don't have. In addition to that, we are a clinical stage company, and last week we disclosed some really stellar phase 1 clinical trial results on very critically ill neonates, babies that are just born with brain injuries. And that is the factor that is propelling us to make this move into the public sector.
You have a dual listing strategy, and based on this staggered approach, what do you aim to achieve, and what are you going to be using the funds for?
Right. So our dual listing strategy is that we intend to start here in Hong Kong, develop our pipeline deep and broad, and then do a secondary listing, expanding our investor pool at a later time. Our goals are the same. We are building a global biotech company. We're doing it in a slightly different way, based on different unique innovations. And ultimately, what we hope to do is set maybe a potential standard for other US companies that might consider Hong Kong as a destination.
And you also mentioned earlier that the timeline for clinical trials in China is shorter. What are some of the factors that give China more speed in this regard?
In particular to our circumstance, our lead assets are in neonates. And given the fact that China has a sizable population, bigger than most other parts of the world, the ability to find these otherwise rare diseases in this population are a real consideration. So for us, a future potential clinical trial site in China or in Asia in general really helps us in developing our lead asset in the neonates. We expect to expand the use of that asset into adult stroke. So we're expanding from a rare disease to an incredibly common disease. So I think in both perspectives, the ability to recruit patients is very important, and one of the main reasons why Asia is becoming more and more a destination for clinical trials, as well as a growing interest within the broader biopharma world.
As an American company looking to build a capital base out here in Hong Kong in Asia, I have to put the question to you because the U.S. and China are always in a race. We've been talking about AI for forever, and I also want to ask you about in the healthcare, in the pharma space, and biotech leadership, because just late last year, a bipartisan U.S. legislative commission warned that China was starting to outpace the U.S. in areas of biopharma innovation. I want to get your take on where the U.S. stands compared to China, and if you expect that to change.
Yeah, so we are a U.S.-based company. We're based in San Diego. The FDA is central to our strategy here, and ultimately, we don't really take any sides in any sort of geopolitical situation. We think that at the end of the day, getting drugs on the market helps humanity, and ultimately we all have to be above that. So we recognize that there are geopolitical situations, and like any company doing cross-border transactions or business in general, we all have to be aware of the regulatory environment, and we have to evolve with it. So at this point, we are considering moving forward with our plans for an IPO in Hong Kong, and very excited to do so as the first American company.
I have to ask about artificial intelligence as well. In this AI race, how has artificial intelligence helped drug discovery and drug design?
Yeah, I can speak to AI as it fits into our strategy of developing next generation genetic medicines. What we are doing is we're starting with delivery platforms, and we think that that is a critical differentiator. Once you've established credible delivery mechanisms, approaches to deliver drugs to the right place in the body at the right time, then you can really amplify the effect by using AI to design molecules that will be delivered within those vehicles. So from our perspective, AI has been an unbelievable opportunity and enables a company like us to really have a plug-and-play opportunity for drug development and then move faster and quicker through the spectrum of clinical trials and hopefully regulatory as well.
Remo, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And I'm counting on when you come to Hong Kong, that will be down at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for the gong ceremony. And we'll have another chat then, or we'll seat you right here in the studio with us to talk about your Hong Kong listing. Let's talk again soon. Remo Moomiaie, Qajar from Axiom Biosciences. And my thanks to Elaine Yu for helping with that interview as well. The China Connection.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.